A moment ago, I said landslide in relation to Trump's win. And when I say landslide, good on you, Rowan, for calling it. I do mean it was a landslide.
Thank you.
News that broke over the last 24 hours as the votes continue to be tallied up in the never-ending election. I can report that Donald Trump has just crossed the 76 million vote mark, the first Republican president in history to do so. And predictably, Trump's return and his appointments are causing meltdowns all over the place on the left. Something which none other than Democrat Senator John Fetterman sagely picked up on here.
We describe it as God-tier level trolling to just trigger a full-on China syndrome to own the libs in perpetuity.
Yes, that's right. God-tier level trolling leading to a China syndrome meltdown. Ain't it great? I am here for it, and I know you are too. I mean, here's Sherilyn Hill, who served on Joe Biden's Supreme Court commission, losing it and calling Trump's defense secretary designate Pete Hegseth a white supremacist.
This is someone who, is known to be a white supremacist, known to be an extremist, whose platform, whose book is basically about his opposition to the advancement of black officers to the top brass.
Sorry, opposition to DEI is not racism. It's the opposite of racism. Now, apparently reporters, too, supposedly hardened journalists, are also crying over the prospect of Matt Gaetz becoming Attorney General.
Not going to receive a very warm welcome from the career folks there. We've seen people today, our fellow reporters, crying, hugging in the hallways.
And here's a Connecticut teacher turning on the waterworks on local TV to save her job after she threatened to kill Trump supporters.
And it's so fulfilling, it's so rewarding, and I know that what people see right now, I don't look like that person, but I truly would do anything to help any child and any family in need.
Just because you won doesn't mean we don't remember who the you voted for. You're not in the clear. And just please don't test your gangster on me, because you will end on a stretcher, gone forever.
Well, I don't know about you. Which one of those two performances do you think is her real persona anyway? And, of course, one of the fascinating things about this election has been how ordinary, non-TDS suffering folks from all walks of life looked at the Democrat program, which involves importing huge numbers of migrants to drive down wages, letting crime run rampant in cities, setting up stifling regulation to keep people from starting businesses and getting ahead, and turning the schools into trans ideology indoctrination camps. Well, people looked at all of that, and I don't know why, but they said thanks, but no thanks. Indeed, have a listen to what these Chicago residents, Chicago's reliably very Democratic, but listen to what they had to say at a special city council meeting this week in the wake of the election.
I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson, you underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago red. You know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois, 37 in the city of Chicago. That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red.
And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented, while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? See, Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected.
What about our real estate?
Because, see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Start it off with that.
Did they sound happy about Trump's win? Sure thing. And did they sound impressed with their local Democrat overlords? Not on your life. You see, to me, what the election, the re-election, that is, of Trump represents is people waking up to the fact that for all their talk about sharing and caring, Democrats really only care about themselves and their weird, yes, weird campaign to remake society, whether it is by letting Venezuelan gangs take over apartment buildings or teaching bizarre gender ideologies in schools. People before this election, have a look at this ad from the Trump campaign, which got an awful lot of attention, and deservedly so, because it really summed the whole thing up.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money.
Kamala even supports letting biological men compete against our girls in their sports. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. Killer slogan, and they didn't know how to respond to it. And when I was in the U.S., I heard plenty of people tell me that this particular ad, was the thing that pushed them over the line to vote for Trump. And it sums up, I think, a bigger realignment in American politics, one that we have not seen since Ronald Reagan and his thumping 49-state win over Walter Mondale in 1984, which minted and created and nurtured a whole generation of young conservatives. Mark my words, Trump is doing the same thing here today.